Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Suplex City Chats. We have hit the end of the 2020 pay-per-view year. Yeah, you may look around and go, wait a minute, guys, why are you doing this? Raw's on. Well, guess what? We can watch Raw tomorrow. Let's talk about, in my opinion, the best WWE main roster pay-per-view in a long while. Let's go around and introduce everybody. He is the leader of the Darker Order, Mr. Evil Dose Malekith.
Coming to you from the Sextant submarine, Evil Dose is in the house, here to pass evil and malfeasance and malevolence around the world. And so why not talk about an Inferno match? Let's do the other introductions, get this party going.
Well, let's do it then. He is the bringer of pain. According to his shirt today, he is a part of the Vigilante Club. He is Mr. Ryan, the Painmaker.
The Vigilante Club never stops, never cancels, and never desists. We live on 24/7, 365, 7-Eleven, I-95 every day of the damn week. And I think right now there's a need some vigilanteism because this pay-per-view was a fucking crime. So I can't wait to get into this.
Whoa. Okay, some interesting comments. It wouldn't be a trip to Suplex City without our resident villain, Mr. Haven.
What up, what up, what up? Yeah, man, this pay-per-view was better than I expected. A lot of solid matches. I can't wait to dive deep into and analyze these matches.
We all know the villain likes to dive deep into things, but we won't go any further on that one.
Yeah.
That's some top secret classified shit right there. And, of course, sometimes we have people joining us to our trip to Suplex City. He is, if you've been around a little while, you'll know this man, Mr. Dan Skip Allen.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome. I appreciate giving me a chance to come on with you guys and discuss the pay-per-view, Matt.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're an all-welcoming group here. Maybe villain, he may bust your balls a little bit when it comes to certain things, but you never know. I don't really watch the kickoff shows. We all know that. So we'll just skip the kickoff show just because there wasn't, one match, no big deal. It set up a bunch of storylines. Big E's going to take the title from Sami Zayn this week. Let's move on to our kickoff. It was the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles eventually became a triple threat with The Miz. We'll get there in a TLC match. Villain, why don't you start us off? Tell us a little bit about this match and what you thought.
I thought it was a really good match. AJ Styles had his big homeboy out there, doing a little interfering here and there. I like some of the spots in the match. AJ Styles, a lot of people don't really talk about his selling, but he's a really good seller, especially being a little guy. So when he's crashing into shit, when he's throwing into stuff, he can really sell. Drew McIntyre is a beast, man. That dude's tall, buff. He looks like a wrestler's wrestler, man. The match overall was kind of good until The Miz came out. That was stupid as fuck in my opinion. Like, why would you get involved? The only other person that did that was Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, made it a three-way. But it's like I can't even remember the last time somebody actually cashed in the Money in the Bank. I think that was like 3 years ago. Like,
that
so I don't even know why.
Lesnar was the last cash in was Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Boombox Brock.
Yeah, so so that was stupid and a waste of a briefcase. I mean, Miz had momentum going in this year, even till then, and now he just lost his momentum. I don't know what the hell he's gonna do because I don't think anybody wants to see a Miz, Drew McIntyre one-on-one match. So I don't know. The match was fine until that. It didn't make no sense to change it to a three-way. That I still don't understand the logic of that. But the overall match was good, and Drew McIntyre is just pushing forward as a real champion, man. Keep getting these W's.
Well, I think it was just, we get the cash in on Miz, we get that taken care of, and then Drew McIntyre can look towards the Rumble. Maybe, we'll see who's going to go from there. I think we'll see a rematch here eventually on Raw tonight. AJ Styles is going to take on, he's going to be teaming with Miz. So I just think it's one of those that they're going to go from there. I do think, though, that big homie Amos picking up Miz and just kind of dropping him like a baby through the table. I thought that was pretty funny. They did some pretty creative spots. I like the fact that they really didn't use a lot of the weapons in this one. They saved it for the Universal Championship. I enjoyed it. I don't really care. I'd like to see a program now between AJ Styles and Miz. Maybe once Amos gets his, wrestling feet under him, he can, go on with Morrison. He can do big guy things. The man to my right likes big people doing big people things, so maybe that'll fly with him. Speaking of the man to my right, Dos, what do you think?
Well, thank you, sir. I will say I did enjoy this match. I thought this was the better of the TLC matches, probably an unpopular opinion. But I do agree with the villain on some of what he said. I don't question why The Miz cashed in now or attempted to, as probably no spoiler to anybody who's been watching Raw. We already know the storyline. And actually, I have to say, I sort of like it. It's pretty clever. It harkens back to Eddie Kingston never being eliminated from the Battle Royal. So it's almost smart. No, it is smart. I disagree with him saying The Miz has any momentum ever. The Miz is what he is. He's currently stuck in Miz card, which is where he belongs, because to make him anything else would be a mistake. All right, enough of that. I did like almost throwing him through the table. I liked the segment where Morrison broke the chair over his back and then ran away. What I don't understand is how in a no DQ match, that was the first time Omos got involved, and why he only targeted The Miz and didn't bother with Drew McIntyre at any point, being that he could have and there was no disqualification. That said, I mean, that's not nitpicking. I think that's a whatever is a lot bigger than a nit that I'm picking at, maybe a horsefly picking. But that aside, I thought that the match was enjoyable. I liked that it was a failed cash-in. I know that people are sort of sick of those, and they say, what's the point? But neither Otis nor The Miz should be anywhere near a world title. So, yeah, I like Drew looked good in this. AJ worked his ass off. I thought it was a good match. I thought it was not too long, which is my complaint with the other TLC match. Right now, I'm risking going too long, so I'll stop myself right there.
All right, Ryan, go ahead, throw your opinion, and then Dan, as soon as he's done, take over. I'm going to step aside real quick and refill my water, and once I get back, we'll keep going.
Okay, well, it's not going to take that long, because my thoughts mirror mostly everyone's here. Drew and AJ had probably one of the underrated rivalries building up to this pay-per-view. As you can tell, AJ really, obviously, it's clear he shines as a heel, and it didn't show anymore in this match. He did a great job. He and Drew had very good chemistry in this match. They really knew how to do the whole David versus Goliath dynamic. While Goliath was the face and David was the heel in the situation, it didn't change anything here. And we saw in the different combinations of what they did. When AJ was using the calf crusher on Drew, I believe he used a ladder or a chair, and the only way that Drew was able to get out of it was slamming AJ's face down on a chair. So they were at least trying to give you a different kind of TLC match before it went to the whole crushing ladders and using tables and chairs involved. With The Miz, was not a fan of him getting the briefcase because it wasn't going to change anything in momentum. And it clearly shows right here. Nothing changed. Almost, yeah, that was weird. Almost just not doing anything with Drew. He didn't try to stop him, didn't try to block him, wasn't even trying to get in his way. It wasn't until Miz goes for the championship we see Almost get involved. And the only thing that really tickled me was that failed chair, that chair disassembling in Morrison's hands when he hits Almost. Now, that was a fun moment. And then, of course, we get a following shit show of a runaway. He could have just easily just backed up 1 foot at a time. It still would look faster than the way Morrison was running. Now, I'm glad that Drew won because I do see him moving forward next year, like around 2021, as a champion. Most likely him main eventing WrestleMania. If not, I think he and AJ can continue this feud in 2021.
All right, Dan, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I haven't been on with you guys before, so I don't know what was discussed in the past and whatnot. But from what I remember, Vince usually doesn't like to have little guys wrestle big guys. But obviously, with AJ Styles so good on the mic, obviously at WrestleMania, that whole thing with Undertaker this past year, he can hold his own on the mic with these big guys, and sometimes he can sell these storylines better than these big guys can. The difference between a lot of these big guys and Drew McIntyre is Drew can actually wrestle, where a lot of these big guys are punch, kick, whatever, suplex, whatever. And so they can't really last a long time. But Drew can hold his own with a guy like AJ Styles. And I thought the setup between these guys and the wrestling match was great. I think what Haven said was, why even get Miz involved in this in the first place? I think that was a stupid angle to this story. First of all, Otis should have never lost that. And from what my sources were saying, Otis was supposed to have a couple different feuds that was going to lead to him having a championship down the line. They changed gears and gave it to Miz instead. And I was glad he didn't cash in, but now with this whole thing tonight on Raw, they're going to keep dragging this thing out with the Money in the Bank, and who knows what's going to happen with Miz. I don't think Miz deserves the title. I don't even think he deserves to have the Money in the Bank. That's just my opinion. But as a match, I thought the match was really well until Miz and that stuff, until he got involved. Almost, you knew eventually he was going to get involved in some match. It was just a matter of time before he got involved in something.
All righty. Gentlemen, let's move on to something that somebody said may not actually be able to happen. What do you know? Sasha Banks actually successfully defended the Smackdown Women's Championship against Carmella on a pay-per-view. Go ahead, Ryan. You've got. I know you've got something to say. Go for it.
No, I was just saying it was her second successful defense. But it's still the same point. It's still the same point that you actually made. She did successfully defend the title, and it's continually breaking that hole, that box that WWE had put her in. And the one negative I have about this match is that if we didn't have that Sasha and Carmella match weeks before that in DQ, it would have upped the intensity and the ante in this match. Carmella, I mean, I like this new character with Carmella. It's really doing well with her charisma. It's letting her really get to play the diva-ish character, like characteristics that she was showing early in her run of NXT, and then when she first came on to SmackDown, then with their alliance with James Ellsworth. Character-wise, I think this works for Carmella, and Sasha once again shows she can work with almost any woman in this company. I mean, the changes in reversal for pinnings to the change when it came to a simple, I think, almost a scissor lock, then into a roll-up, then into the code of silence. That was a very good change. And the use of her valet Reginald, he wasn't overused as much. He was only used in 2 separate instances. Otherwise, this was a great way to get Carmella over as an opportunistic heel and still show Sasha as a very determined and worthwhile champion for the women's division.
I also want to add on to the fact that Carmella actually looked good. Sometimes she's a little green. She looks a little green, maybe a little, not Nia Jax green, but
No, I know what you mean. Like, she's very experienced, but she's still green in a few technical aspects.
Yeah, she hasn't really gotten the TV wrestling down. There's an aspect of wrestling that people don't realize. There's a difference between being on the indie circuit and being able to just go balls to the wall. But then there's also a change where you have to be able to get used to performing with a hard cam where you're almost performing these facing one way as opposed to whichever direction you want in a ring. That being said, I think Carmella looked good. We all know my stance that Sasha can make anybody look good. In my opinion, there was not even a remote chance that Sasha was going to drop this. I mean, Mandalorian season 2, just concluded last weekend. And spoiler, if you haven't seen it, Sasha Banks has a big presence in it. I think they would be kicking themselves in the ass if she had lost this match. It was a good match. I was a little confused why there wasn't a disqualification throughout there, but that's nitpicking. Otherwise, I enjoyed it. Screw it. Dan, what do you think?
Well, spoiler alert, did she die at the end of Mandalorian season 2? Sasha Banks? I don't know. It was because she went out of camera and we didn't see her again. But that's a whole nother thing. No,
you didn't see me again in Mandalorian, and I don't know if I died.
Carmella.
I mean, Dose, that's evil things we don't talk. Sorry, I got to cut you off real quick. Dose, that's evil things we don't talk about on camera. Come on now. Remember, that has to stay in the group.
That's right. My evil.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm not a big fan of Carmella. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know if you guys have had these discussions or not, but I am just not a fan of the women's division in WWE, excluding NXT. And I don't think Carmella is worth a crap. I'm not even a big fan of Sasha Banks, but because of Mandalorian, you know they weren't going to have her drop that belt. And the other thing is, just because of Corey Graves, Carmella's going to get this push. Oh, just give her a new haircut and some makeup and crap. I mean, give me a break. Carmella shouldn't even be in a ring in the WWE. Get the NXT girls in there so they can kick the crap out of, bend the rest of them WWE girls into pretzels, which is what they all deserve, and kick the crap out of them, get them out of there. Because I'm sick of these girls are awful. I mean, and I love Mandy Rose, and I love Charlotte. She's the best one of the bunch of that's on there right now. Charlotte Flair is. They're all awful. They're just awful. Get them out of there. Get them through some new training or something. Bring in the whole crew of NXT girls. I mean, Carmella, this whole gimmick with Carmella and was a bunch of crap. But I knew she was going to get the push. I knew she was going to get the push versus Sasha Banks, and I was just so glad to see Sasha win because maybe we can get rid of Carmella. Maybe get rid of Corey Graves too.
Oh, we're going to have some opinions on Charlotte. That's one thing for sure.
All right, Bill, let's hear your.
I know. I'm done. Jesus, I'm just.
Whoa, this guy was so wrong on that part. First of all, they're not girls; they're women. You know, 2020. And all of them came from NXT.
I know
all the women you're talking about came from NXT. You know,
they don't. They can't hold the candle to him, David. Right now, they can't hold the candle to him. I'm telling you, that's my opinion.
All right. Yeah. Okay. This match, the match was great. This was the best Carmella match I've seen her in her WWE career, you know, so I have to give her that. The only thing I don't like about this match was she just came back. And she went for the title and lost. So now she's going to get regulated to just drop back down to nothing. Like when you bring a girl back like that, if you're going to make her a heel or a guy or a female, if you're going to bring them back, build them up, and they already go for the title and lose. Like now who gives a shit what she does Friday? Oh, she's going to jump her again. Maybe they'll keep having a feud. Why? You already lost on pay-per-view. So that was the only thing I didn't like about this match. But the match overall was great. You know, Sasha looked flawless in the ring, and it was a good match. These both women put on a hell of a match, man. Yeah, I like the time they allotted them. I like the moves. I like the finish. I thought it was good.
That's what's up, gentlemen. That is what's up. Again, I liked it. I thought it was definitely a decent bout. I like the fact that something I want to talk about really quickly. I like the fact that this card wasn't full of stipulations. You know, most major stipulation pay-per-views are full of it, you know. Damn near like last year, you look at this pay-per-view last year, I actually went and looked. Every other match was a TLC match or a tables match or a chairs match. I like the fact that it kept the bigger matches to the stipulation, but had regular wrestling involved. Keeping up with that, we'll move into the new.
Dose's turn.
What?
Yeah, skip me.
Skip Dose.
Oh well, fuck, man. He was talking about evil things, so it threw me off guard, you know. Go ahead then, Dose. Talk about women.
Well, you know what? This was quite a little feud building up here between two of our residents there. I've got to say, I am more with the villain than I am with Skip, who was spewing a lot of anger there. I happen to think that WWE's women's division is pretty darn good. I do think that the top women in NXT are nearly as good or just as good, but I think that the top women in WWE are just as good as any other women out there and better than most. You had your chance, new guy. He's spewing anger there. We're gonna have to start a breathalyzer test before we get in here.
I thought this would be fucked.
Yeah, I know, all of us, right? Carmella is much improved, and she knows her character. She knows her moveset. She learned some clever new moves. Used Reginald the Sommelier, not Valet, as a platform for some of those moves. I don't know why he doesn't speak. Sommeliers do speak. I know that she has her own wine, but she only has 2 varietals. But nevertheless, I guess it's sort of clever. I'm not entirely comfortable with this particular pairing and in this particular era, but past that, I thought this was a really good match. Frankly, from a in-ring standpoint, I thought this was probably the best match of the night. And it was not particularly long. I like that Sasha won. She should have won. She won clean. I'm sure because it's WWE that they'll find ways to continue this feud. I don't really know why, other than the practicalities of it, that they seem to be rushing all of their women's feuds, including having Bianca paired off with Bayley already. She should beat Natty first, then Bayley, and then earn her number 1 contender spot against Sasha for WrestleMania, unless the plan is for her to win the Royal Rumble and pick her shot. But that, I mean, only one person wins that, and plans change. So I just think it's a little bit fast. But anyway, nevertheless, we're not talking about that. I thought this was a really good match. Right person won, and I think Carmella was terrific. And I think that she looks good. She's Cher-Mella. And I don't know why she had to be on the shelf for 10 months to create this character. But nevertheless, it seems to be working. And it's, frankly, the go-home SmackDown was an F show until Carmella and Sasha's match, which turned it into a D+ show. But that's because that match was a solid A-.
I didn't even get to watch it because it was on FS1, and I don't like watching SmackDown on Hulu because they cut a lot out. But all right, now we can move on to the big, as they put it, big match. New Day taking on the Hurt Business. I think the right team won. I think it's time to put the gold on the Hurt Business. I said today to a couple of friends of mine that. Excuse me. Since MVP has come back, returned to WWE at the Royal Rumble and stuck around, he's been an amazing character during COVID. Even seeing him when one of the guys gets thrown out of the ring, he pulls a water bottle out of his jacket, hands it to him, says, "Take a drink, stay hydrated, you're good." I really liked it. I like the character work with Cedric. So we'll keep that up. New Day looked good. Her Business looked better. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Villain, what you thinking?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of posts of people saying, it's about time they put it on the Hurt Business. They should have been put the belts on the Hurt Business. It was a good match. All these guys could go in the ring. And you said it, MVP. It's crazy because the last time me and Ryan seen MVP in real life when we went on the cruise, and then shortly after that he shows up in WWE and he's killing it. Like, he's literally killing this shit, where it's like, he could talk, he could fight when he needs to, he could jump when he needs to, he could motivate when he needs to. And you're right, man. The Hurt Business has been MVPs when it comes to the whole COVID era. Like, they're a big part of what's keeping WWE afloat, in my opinion. I don't know who they wrestle after this because there's really not too many tag teams there. And the New Day, like, I'm kind of tired of their stick. Like, 10-time champion, but I don't care. They're never going to be in my top 20 teams of all time. I'm just too old school. But yeah, they look good in the ring. They could wrestle, but I was over them already. So yeah, the Hurt Business got some gold. A lot of people saying, "Oh, they got almost all the gold." Yeah, they're only missing one belt, which they're not going to get. And that's the heavyweight title. So, that sucks because they, some of those guys do deserve a championship run, but it is what it is. Yeah, it was a good match, and they won. They won the way they won.
And they won clean.
Yeah,
They
that's what
won
I'm saying. They won
clean.
clean, fair and square. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was glad about. Dan, what'd you feel?
No, I'll be honest with you. Haven said a mouthful on that one. They were trying to get this whole retribution thing going, and retribution is going like this. And who's going up? And that's the Hurt Business. Hurt Business. They brought those guys in, Cedric Alexander and MVP, as like afterthoughts. Like, we're losing so many guys. Guys are opting out. All this. We got to bring some guys in. So they bring these two guys in, and they're part of their plan going forward. Whoever thought Cedric, I meant what's
Shelton.
Shelton. That's what Shelton Benjamin. I did. And them would be like guys that would be bigger guys now. And then Retribution would be tanking. I mean, and speaking of, we'll go real quick, go back to Mia Yim. She should be wrestling against the best and the best of the WWE. Instead, she's a sidekick, a fifth like leg on this Retribution crap, and they might have her go up against Dana Brooke or somebody like that. I mean, she's a quality wrestler. We saw that in the Charlotte Flair match when she wrestled Charlotte Flair a while back for the title. That's why Mercedes Martinez got the hell out of it. So I ain't gonna be part of this crap. This bull. You're making me look like a bunch of crap. But no, the Hurt Business. I think they could do a deal like when Sami Zayn had Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, where he ended up getting the title out of it. They could do some screw job type of thing with Drew McIntyre for like a month until Drew can get somebody. Maybe Edge could come back and he could do something with Edge and Randy Orton again down the road for WrestleMania. I don't know. But maybe they could do kind of a screw job deal and somehow get what's his face the championship belt, and then he'll lose it like a week or two later or something like. I don't know. But they're building the Hurt Business up. I'm actually looking kind of interested in see what they're going to do with their business going forward. I'm glad they're kind of, because Retribution, what garbage they are.
Well, I don't know. Dallas, how you feeling?
Well, I wanted to play this after Dan and Villain's little exchange before, but I'm going to start it now because it fits here. Something to poppin'.
I've known Haven for a while now, so we go way back, Haven and I do.
All right, that's enough of that. Listen, the right team won. This match was okay. It was not great by any stretch. Those guys can do better. I thought that the end was a little goofy in that I have really the one thing I haven't liked about the Hurt Business is that they're clearly rushing towards, and they were hinting at it from the beginning, that Cedric and Shelton were never really on the same page. And now it's all about Cedric sort of being, the young primetime star, and it's his time. I have the same problem with Roman and Jey Uso. Maybe I have the same problem with a couple things. It's too soon. You build up a dominant faction. They need to stay dominant for a while, and then you tease some dissensions. And that doesn't need to be that the faction ends. It just changes, like the Horsemen rotated members in and out and things like that. Anyway, that said, I'm glad they won. In kayfabe, I would have done what Cedric did too, because Sheldon's sitting there waiting against Kofi, who is resilient as can be, and every time you wait on him, he gives you an enziguri or Trouble in Paradise, or turns the move around. He's a former champion. They're tag team, 10-time tag team champions. So it was dopey, because Benjamin's tried that to do his finisher a bunch of times, and it was reversed several times. So I don't blame Cedric for it. I just don't really like it. I did like how MVP really didn't get involved in the match at all, other than talking and enjoying and coaching. I don't know that MVP can ever get the world title. I am not against it. I'm not against him, trading, somehow getting the U.S. championship and Lashley getting the world championship. I mean, that seems to be more fitting, but I'm okay with MVP too. I think MVP has been probably the MVP for WWE for the year after Asuka. And Drew is probably third. Now, Roman Great on half a year. I mean, he'd be first, but it's half a year. Anyway, I thought this was the right result. I didn't love the match, but it was short and it was good enough. So, but this is sort of when the show started to turn a little bit for me.
All right, Ryan, go ahead, brother.
This match was a bit of a downgrade because it was already it happened in so many different configurations on Raw between New Day and the Hurt Business. Now I get there's not many tag teams, so we were gonna get the same match between these guys. But normally, whenever the New Day has like a repeated feud, the championship matches they have, there's always a different level. There's always a different set of intensity in that match to make it stand out. You know, to really make their feet stand out. I mean, the constant repeated times they fought against the Usos, against Sheamus and Nakamura, against the Good Brothers when they were a part of Raw. Every time when it came to the big title match at the pay-per-view, the New Day were always able to at least astound. And I didn't feel as astounded in this match, mainly because all four of these men are very talented. They're very athletic. They do show good chemistry. It was just that it wasn't very spaced apart, personally, in my opinion. Now, I did love Kofi's hot tag when he came in. I loved how he was really being a house of fire, like always. But this time, like it pretty much mirrored what he and Xavier said before they were going to. You're going to get the big match New Day. We got a little bit of the New Day we saw against the Street Profits. You know, they're coming in. They're being a little show-offy because of those multi-accolades behind them. And with the Hurt Business, it was inevitable they were going to get the belts. I didn't think they were going to get it this year. I thought maybe next year. Like, give Cedric and Shelton their first big opportunity as a team. Let them fall, rebuild, and then they win the next time. Mainly because that whole thing, Shelton and Cedric, they're not on the same page with each other. That's normally how it is with the narrative of tag teams, at least put together tag teams. They need to find that chemistry, that camaraderie in order to make them a great team. That's how they did it with Sheamus and Cesaro when they dethroned the New Day during their long title reign. And then when we got the Bar ended up being a very dominant and very technically sound tag team. So I'm guessing in this match, I mean, it was just off in my mind. It didn't take away from the pay-per-view, though, but it did detract me a little bit from the following match. And yeah, if we do see the Hurt Business get all the belts, it is a toss between maybe MVP would probably try to advocate Lashley to go for the championship to make Lashley double belted, or MVP will be the guy like, you know what, I want to get gold, I'll step in, and then it'll just be the whole gang mentality against Drew McIntyre. You know, try to restart that small little thing that happened before SummerSlam. You know, at least find something new to change things up. Or
we'll just see the finger poke of doom again, and Bobby will lay down and MVP will get on top of him 1, 2, 3, and it'll.
Personally, I think Bobby Lashley deserves a nice, maybe 100-day run with the main championship with the big belt. I like him as U.S. champion, but personally, for me with Lashley, the work he's done and seeing the crap that he's been through so far, coming back, this does feel like it needs to be another level. And he's perfect against Drew. He's a perfect person to go up against Drew.
That's my point of the whole finger poke of doom. He can, MVP can do it. He can lay down and get the 1, 2, 3. Then he can go, okay, now I'm going after Drew. And we could see a Bobby versus Drew.
Might I suggest one thing? Even though I already have my turn to build on what Ryan said, just as a fantasy booking suggestion.
Go for it.
That none of the titles change in the interim, but at Money in the Bank, the Hurt Business acts as a team to make it so that MVP gets that Money in the Bank case. I think the Hurt Business with that case would be amazing. Or could be.
I actually would like that. I really would like that.
Right.
That would be a dangerous organization to have it. All right, gentlemen. Let's move on to the worst kept secret in professional wrestling. Asuka's partner. I think it was pretty safe to say. Most people assumed it was Charlotte Flair. I know I did. In our group chat, we've been, discussing it. I I'm kind of confused on why they brought her back to do a face turn, but that's okay. That's just me. We're pretty much going to see the Asuka Bailey run, or Sasha Bailey run all over again, which is completely fine with me. Charlotte, but I think Asuka should win this one if that's the way they go, because I just think at WrestleMania, they gave Charlotte the win, which was wrong, over Asuka in New Orleans. But that's another story for another time. I don't even mind that Charlotte picked up the pin over Shayna Baszler. I've seen this justice for Shayna shit all over the internet. I don't care. They fought again tonight. Spoilers: Shayna and Nia fought tonight and won. So there's no problem there. Personally, I'd like to see Nia go away for a little while and come back a little bit, safer hands. But that's just me. The match was fine. Charlotte won by pinfall. It was a clean 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Dan, go ahead, brother. The floor is yours.
I got two things to say about what you said, Matt. You hit the nail on the head. They're doing the whole Bailey Sasha thing all over again now with Charlotte and Asuka. All right, but to Shayna, look at the writing in NXT and then look at the writing in WWE. It's like night and day difference. The writing they did for Shayna Baszler in NXT. They made her an absolute badass in NXT. She comes in, wrecks shop in that, whatever that chamber match was. Then all of a sudden, they forget all about her, and now she's like this sidekick of Nia Jax and this freaking buddy comedy routine, which is a bunch of baloney. First of all, they need to get back to writing her the way she should be written, as a badass. You want to elevate the women's division? Make her the badass that she is in real life, a real life badass, instead of making her some freaking happy-go-like goofy sidekick crap. And then get Nia Jax out of Raw, get her on SmackDown, get her in the group with Roman Reigns and the Usos, make that a dominant, badass group where they're wrecking shop all night long, every night. Because right now, that's the gold of the company. This Roman Reigns story is the gold of the company. Get Nia Jax over to SmackDown, get her away from Shayna, have Shayna have like freaking great badass matches with Charlotte, Asuka. I mean, just this whole crap they're doing with her it's awful. It's awful what they're doing with Shayna Baszler, because she's a real life badass. She's not like some pretend badass. She could kick the shit out of all of us in about 5 seconds. Real life woman. I mean, shooting talk. And, they needed to lose. They needed to lose the belts because they were going to push this whole Asuka. Becky's coming back at dang Royal Rumble. Becky's coming back. And let's not pretend have games here. She's coming back.
Not a Royal Rumble, but okay.
Vince, it's the reports have said Vince wants her back by February, but Vince
January 31st, guys. That's the last day of January. That's
all
one
right.
day.
But
have you ever met a woman who had childbirth? Their body doesn't kick back that quickly, and some
it
at all.
It also deals with them being mentally ready as well.
That too. That I didn't even want to go into that. Physically, it's too soon.
She did post recently of her in the gym stating she's ready to get back. So we'll have to wait and see with that. But that's a different story. Ryan, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I don't want to definitely go too much on this talk with Becky and her return. I mean, if she returns, hopefully she's like mentally and physically like really ready. I'm happy for the childbirth that she and Seth have had. I know that sounded weird. Oh Jesus!
Not from you.
I mean, Vernon's on fire in the chat. Yeah. Let's be real.
Glad you're here, Glenn. I'm glad you're here, man. All right. Look, it was obvious with Charlotte. I get them wanting to bring Charlotte back. I mean, she must have been ready for a while. To me, it would have been much better if she showed up maybe the Raw afterwards, so then they can actually start building towards the Royal Rumble to where she shows up and she says, I want to start going for the Royal Rumble, be the first woman to win the Royal Rumble back to back. That would have made more sense. But still, her as a face, I go back and forth on, honestly. It's just the way she's constantly been booked. And I don't like how she's shoved down her throats. I don't like how she has already 9 women championships in her accolades when they have. Oh, then let me get off. Let me get off this. Look, this match in general, it really was a bit sloppy. It got sloppy. Not just because of Nia, but because it just didn't feel like most of these women were in communication or in chemistry with each other. I mean, Shayna, she normally does a good job when it comes with her technical abilities, and she was doing good with Asuka, especially using joint manipulation, working on the submission holds. That was fine. I just think when Charlotte came back, though, it's pretty much just a different atmosphere going in here because Charlotte, she makes a return, of course, to the audio fanfare. She's in this match. She's meant to be, happy-go-lucky face, so she's not doing the normal stuff, the normal moveset that she would do if she was a heel, obviously because of her different term, but still, less athleticism from her. That natural selection she did on Shayna, it just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't look right to me. Like, it just didn't seem fluid. Especially, and she gets the pin, she gets the win, great. Charlotte is now a Grand Slam champion, just like Asuka, Bayley, and Sasha. It was bound to happen sooner or later. That was another. One thing I hope with her as the women's tag champion, she decides to put her focus on the women's division, on the tag titles. She can make this speech where the tag titles are not given the accolades they need, and she's going to be the woman to make sure they have that accolade. That way, you can put her off of her path. It's not until maybe hopefully after WrestleMania, they start having her go for the Raw Women's Championship. I'm being naive here. I know you guys can shoot me down later. I just think if you want Charlotte on a different trajectory, have her focus on building a strong women tag title run. That way, she can be a good foundation to once again rebuild that tag team division and get some more established teams coming in. They've broken up too many. And finally, the last thing I'm going to do, the one thing I did not like about her return, it completely spits in the face and stomps on the storyline that WWE had done with Lana. I may have not have loved how they were treating her turn as a babyface, but at least they were actually committing to the story. And ultimately,
9 tables.
9 tables, yes. 9
You're so correct, man. They just shit all over Lana, the whole Lana story. Just shit all over.
Are none of you guys aware that she actually is injured?
Yo, we know she's
I am aware.
Okay, well, they didn't shit over it. She got injured. I mean, this wasn't the choice. She was supposed to get her comeuppance. So
no, but it's really frustrating that it's Charlotte who makes a return. If it was the case, they could have just had that funny backstage thing where Asuka picks Billie Kay. I mean, sure, it would not have worked, but at least I would have been happy with Shayna and Nia retaining. That way, when Lana does come back, we actually do get to have her really do this great comeuppance against Shayna and Nia. I get she got hurt. They really had to change everything, but they still could have stretched this story out until next year.
Matt, can I ask a question real quick? Mm-hmm. I don't know. You guys are all in on the Meltzer newsletters and all the inside gossip and everything. Were they seriously thinking about doing the feud between Charlotte and Randy Orton, or was that just somebody just talking? It never was legitimately going to happen.
I've never heard of that.
Because of the whole thing where Randy beat up Ric Flair and she wants revenge for what he did to Ric Flair, and the whole Tessa Blanchard and Brian Cage thing over an Impact, they were going to try to piggyback off of that because because she's won all the belts all these different times. She won NXT. She's done all this stuff. The only thing she hasn't done is wrestled a man, and this is their way of doing
that.
Something
was definitely not from the Meltzerverse. I don't love Dave Meltzer, but he never reported that. I've never. You're the only person
I'm asking if you guys heard anything like that, because I actually.
Okay, Sportskeeda did post something in August that she should have revenge on it, but that was just a. Hold on, let me pull up the exact.
I'm just curious because that to me would be fascinating.
This Yeah, this was just this is what we believe she should do.
Okay.
It's nothing. It was nothing set in stone.
No substantiated. Nothing substantiated with that.
No, I'm looking at the article. I mean, they do reference Tessa Blanchard in Impact, but no, there's nothing substantial about it. I mean, it would be interesting, but no.
They're obviously going in this other direction with the whole Bailey and Sasha thing with Asuka and Charlotte now, obviously, right? That's what it looks like.
Yeah. All right, Dallas, you got some feelings?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, I think this is different than Bailey and Sasha, who were best friends for about a year. This is obviously a faux friendship. I agree that Charlotte as a face really doesn't work, and her smile, it's almost like the Joker smiling. It's more disconcerting than when she doesn't smile. But she had a history with Nia as well. Nia is in storyline the one who injured her before she got her D+ reduced to a C, set of C's. In any event, everyone said that the match wasn't crisp. It wasn't crisp. They had very little time to prepare. Charlotte has ring rust. They haven't worked together as a team. Nia isn't exactly that graceful. And while Shayna is very good in her style, she is a mat technician, sort of chain wrestler. She's not really the fluid kind of wrestler in tag matches. So, naturally. But I agree with the group. It wasn't a very good match. The outcome was, not just preordained because they all are, but everybody knew that whoever Asuka's partner was going to win. Did I hope in my heart of hearts that Lana was going to pull a Willis Reed and come out and it was all going to be a work? Yes, I did, because, she should have her day. Maybe she'll get it. Probably not. It's probably forgotten now as a footnote in history. That said, this match doesn't merit as much conversation as we're giving it. For those who are a little bit late on Raw, already in the first segment of Raw tonight, Charlotte started talking about the Raw Women's Championship, and then they got interrupted by, I think, I guess, Shania or the Blonde Ambition or whoever. In any event, this is going to come to a head much quicker than Sasha Bailey, but it should be a shot. Sasha and Bailey were a terrific team, and they and Asuka were carrying WWE along with the Hurt Business for 7 months. So anyway, this match was and as I said, after the Hurt Business match, that really changed my disposition on the show, and this match did nothing but sour it. So that's it. Dose out.
All right, villain, you got the floor, my man.
Yeah. All right. Didn't Becky Lynch win the Royal Rumble last year?
No, Charlotte did because she challenged Rhea Ripley.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, damn, it's already been 2 years. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it feels like it's been like 6, don't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like Ronda Rousey was just there a year ago. Damn. All right. All right. So,
she's still under contract.
Yeah. This was a letdown, and it's crazy as shit. When you get a big return, usually you're excited for it, and I think everybody's reaction tonight, and even yesterday, and Sunday night, was kind of a letdown. Like, oh, all right, Charlotte Flair's back. Like, oh, okay, yeah. So we were all thinking the same thing. We all wanted Lana to win a title for the first time. Prove herself, show the people that she's been, training and going hard, and she was gonna have a feel good story, and it would have been really nice because Asuka's just MVP level, man. Like, she is a gem. Like, she just has the charisma. Like, the camera melts away when she's there. Her presence is just uncanny. She just flows, and I think her and Lana, hugging and talking and just the way the mannerisms would have been, I think it would have been nice, especially with them with the titles, but they had to do something else. I know a lot of people, none of us brought it up yet, but everybody that I've seen was talking about, oh man, the Raw ratings were so low, man, this is what USA wanted. And it's like, no, dickhead. Like, the WWE network is totally different from the USA network. you know. So I'm like, what they have 1.3 million people in the subscriptions. Even if everybody watches, you get 1.3 on the network for a pay-per-view. So you know, it just I haven't fantasy booked yet, and I'm gonna in this match since everybody else has done it. And I know we're giving this match way too
Oh
much credit.
shit! Here he goes.
Um,
Hold up,
but
hold up,
I,
hold on, Billy. Let's do this the right way.
I didn't. All right, yeah, I haven't watched Raw yet, so I don't know what the hell's gonna go on with Raw. But you know, if they're gonna split the two women up and have Shayna and Nia just become major big heels like they should be, and Dan is right. You know, Evil Dose, Ryan is right. Ever since they brung her up, you change her whole style and her whole almost not gimmick, but you just changed everything about her. You know, which she can't succeed on Raw like she did on NXT. So Shayna should just go back to what she was doing. Let her two homegirls be with her. Let her rip shop. But they changed her up, you know, not like physically or you know visually, but it's just they limited her to what she could do, like when she was doing on NXT. She's not as comfortable, and especially
So
with
wait,
Vince around, you
you
know.
don't want her to bite the back of people's necks and be all fucking gangrel on the back of people's necks?
No, I want her to do what she was doing in NXT, you know, and she's not doing that. And so now that they lost the titles, good. They don't need to have the titles any longer. I don't know what's gonna happen with Charlotte and Asuka. I hope they don't just do a Sasha Becky 2.0. I hope they're more creative than that, but that's a big hope. But yeah, the match this to me this was the letdown of the night in my opinion, you know, because it's just like, oh, okay, Charlotte's Black. Oh, you know, she's won a belt. Okay, woohoo, all right. So whatever.
Yep. I mean, yeah, and I hate to say it, but Charlotte had just flown in to Tampa or wherever the fuck they film like that day, so they didn't really get to work it out. The match they had on Raw, spoiler, was better, but still looked kind of sloppy. But spoiler. All right, gentlemen, let's move on to our penultimate match. The second TLC match of the night. We had the Universal Championship, the head of the table, the Tribal Chief, Mr. Roman Reigns, taking on Mr. Stun Kevin Owens. This was a banger of a match. They had spots among spots among spots. I'm going to go ahead and spoil the end of the match. I don't give a shit that Roman hit him with a low blow and then choked his ass out and pulled the belt. I don't care about that. I don't care that Jey Uso was involved. That's what his character is. I'm going to come in, I'm going to wreck shop, and I'm going to win. And I'm going to do what I got to do to protect my family. My family better, suck my balls and get on their knees for me. Well, guess what? That's exactly what happened. Well, I mean, let's be real. That's exactly what it is. I am the head of the table. You're going to protect me or you're against me. And that's what Jey Uso is doing. And God damn it, it was great. I personally would have had, broken the WWE no blading rule. I think Kevin Owens should have bled a little. I think that would have added a little bit more. Because, if this match was in AEW, they both would have bled. It would have been, 5 steps bigger. And that's the one thing that I thought that this match in particular missed was just a little blood. It would have been beautiful. Dan, you're waving your hands around. You must got an opinion. The floor is yours, my man.
No, he did. He got cut on the arm and cut on the back. Roman Reigns.
I'm talking. When I say cut, I want to see a crimson mask.
I'm talking Dustin Rhodes in all.
Well, okay.
I'm not talking Dustin or Cody Rhodes to the point to like hemorrhaging in the damn ring, or Ric Flair deep. I don't want to see a Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24 bad, but something.
Yeah, well, he cut himself twice. Roman Reigns did, and he was bleeding. They had the camera right in on his arm one time and in his back another time. So I don't know, but no, you're right. No, they can get real bloody on some of these. But no, this is a great match. I love this match. I'll be honest. I didn't know if Jimmy was able to come back yet. I thought, oh, they're saving Jimmy and he's going to come out. He's going to be and then they're going to get the two brothers. Then they're going to get Roman. I'm telling you, this thing could go months. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I'm being serious. Obviously, it looks like Goldberg is next for Roman Reigns, because we remember he didn't get that opportunity at WrestleMania for Goldberg, and Goldberg's already been on Twitter, I'm next. So we know Goldberg's next. So this hope, I'll be honest, I'm glad this Kevin Owens thing, but I believe, and I've been hearing little birdies that it's going to be Roman and The Rock at WrestleMania, and the whole family's going to turn on Roman, and they're going to go with The Rock, and that's when the whole thing is going to end for Roman Reigns, because they're going to go to the real king of the family, the real king of the table, and that's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And,
two problems with that. Two problems.
Only two.
One, they're waiting till WrestleMania is back in LA for that, and two, they have to know if they can get The Rock medically cleared, because of being the biggest fucking person in the world. You know, it costs WWE a lot to get him covered.
There's more than two issues with it. They also have to see he's got a bevy of insurance companies and agents and representatives who don't want him doing this. Also, you're talking about a prolonged program in WWE. This man makes close to $200 million a year. There is not that would be a ridiculously poor return on his investment and WWE's for a 1 or 2 time spike like Sting gave them on what is mostly a network subscription, where mostly people are leapfrogging their alternate VPNs for free 30-day trial periods. So no, the Rock ain't happening anytime soon. But I'm sorry, I hijacked that.
No, that's what I said. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's why I said, correct me if I'm wrong. But that's the bird that's been in my ear has been telling me this is what the end of this story is going to be, and it's months down the line.
Well, and the problem I see with
birds in your ear.
Yeah, the problem I see with that too is they're going to wait till fans are back. That is something, because you know for a fact if heel Roman is in the wherever, whether it be the Rumble, whether it be Elimination Chamber, what have you, and you hear "If You Smell," and you know The Rock's music drops, that pop would be almost as big as when Sting debuted in AEW. That being said, what did you feel about the match?
Who, me?
Yeah, you. Sorry.
No, I loved the match. I thought it was a great match. I mean, Kevin Owens Roman Reigns really made Kevin Owens look good. And I know Kevin Owens is a good wrestler. And when he jumped off that sign and broke his ankle in Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, this guy will do whatever it takes for the company. He's shown that time and time again. And Roman Reigns made him look like it took both him and Jimmy Uso to beat him. And he still didn't give up. And so he's going to come out of this looking good, even though he lost.
We do have chiming in. We do have a rematch Christmas night on SmackDown in a cage.
He's going to lose again because Goldberg's next.
Of course he
Goldberg's
is.
next.
Goldberg's going to get his ass whooped.
Yeah, well, we know that's going to happen, but they have to have somebody between this and WrestleMania, and it had to be Goldberg because he never did get his chance to get Goldberg. He was going to win. We all know Braun Strowman wasn't going to. It was supposed to be Roman Reigns was going to beat Goldberg, and it was supposed to be Roman Reigns the whole time. But because of what leukemia and the things that he has, health issues, he didn't want to take a chance and all that stuff. We all know this isn't new news. But so now it's going to be Goldberg and Roman Reigns and stuff. I mean, I hope it's as good as they're trying, and Jimmy will come back, and maybe even they'll bring in Nia Jax somehow. You know, they always do these trades and things, so I don't know.
As long as we don't have a Fiend Saudi Arabia thing, we're fine with that. Because if you don't know, I am a huge mark for the Fiend, but we'll get to that next. Villain, what did you think of our co-main event?
Oh, I thought it was a banger. You know, I like the way they use the table ladders and chairs. That's what you're supposed to do out there. The only thing I was disappointed at is, maybe the other twin might be slightly injured, but you know, you got the head of the table. They should have came out how they came out on their debut, dancing for Roman Reigns. They could have had the the shit over their necks, the leaf pants, looking like Jimmy Snooker with the little arm roses and the leg roses, blow some fire up, and then Roman comes out, to the ring. So that was the only thing I was like, man, maybe they'll say that for Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. He has them coming out like that and shit, because the other brother, if he is injured, he didn't really need to get involved. He could just do the dance. But yeah, this is the same ending we got last pay-per-view. Low blow, 1, 2, 3. He low blowed Drew McIntyre, when they wrestled. So, and he low blowed Kevin Owens. So, and Kevin Owens is a beast, like that dude is the man, I always like his character. This dude is 100% one of the purest wrestlers I've seen in the last 5 years, man. Like this guy has it all, bro. His facial expressions, his mic skills, he's so underrated. I mean, everybody knows he's great, but they kind of ruined this. How you have a match like this, and then not even a week later, you're already in a steel cage match. Like they should have prolonged this, let him take a week off, then come back. Especially the beatdown he took.
Well, it's also been pre-recorded. It was pre-recorded like last week, so it's one of those that
Christmas.
Everybody's getting Christmas.
But it kind of diminishes like him overall for the next year. At least for the half a year, you lose in a big time TLC match, then a Hell in a Cell. Like after that, what the hell is he gonna do? Like maybe he'll beef with Sammy again for the Intercontinental title. Like where do you go after Roman Reigns? That's what's kind of tricky, Like that's what I was saying. They should have just saved that off. But when they already announced it, it's kind of like, man, these guys should have went through hell in a TLC match, and they're already gonna fight next week, man. It's like you take the believability out of it, which is it's kind of just like I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that feels like that, but after hearing that match, I'm not excited, because it's like what the fuck, man. They just had this banger of a match, and then you put him in this other crazy shit, man. And it's like, and this guy's gonna lose again, so it's like, all right, what's gonna happen in this one, when they did a bunch of crazy shit in TLC match. So other than that, the match was a banger. Even with the aftermath and we knowing they're going to wrestle again, that didn't take me out of Sunday night. Sunday night, this match was a fucking banger. And I like that Roman does the low blow. He's showing fuck that shit. This is my belt and I ain't losing it. And,
all right, Ryan, what you thinking?
Man, there's not much left for me to say. But I will say things with Kevin Owens. While MVP, Sasha, Bailey have been, and also Asuka have been also 100% MVPs, I also have to say Kevin Owens has also been an underrated one. Because, let's be honest, the feuds, they may have not have always been great, but he's always given a top performance every single time. In his feud with Seth Rollins, with his match up to WrestleMania, that mini feud with Aleister Black that looked like, I mean, it was crap. It was crap, but Kevin Owens at least always played it as if it was important to him. And to me, with Kevin Owens, I always thought that he was complete after losing the Universal title to Goldberg. He has been on a bit of a downhill. Like they've never found a way to get him back up on top to treat him as the top level player that he is. Because let's be honest, yes, he gets the United States Championship in a great feud with AJ Styles. He attempts to go for the Intercontinental Championship. He tries to be tag team champion with Sammy. Him and Sammy at least had a good, entertaining heel run together. But they're always missing the mark with him. And I thought this was exactly with Roman. This feud was really too early. Yes, Roman beats Jay. They could have possibly found someone else to go up against Roman. But to be honest, Kevin was the only viable option. Not because he wasn't in the feud, but because he was the babyface that can fight against Roman. Because when we saw, he shares the same things that Roman has. It's about family, because he's a father and has a family himself. And also, he can see this could have been a way to try to convince Jay to really break away. And we do see a couple times he does try that. But it's that whole it was just like they're hitting the pedal 60 miles per hour. They just keep trying to zoom past this feud instead of letting it slow down, let it really build some good tension. And that's what I thought last week, SmackDown. I mean, the past SmackDown and this TLC pretty much showed us that Kevin Owens not only can sell, but when he's given the right character motivation, he can really elevate a match storyline wise. But throughout the entire match, him taking those bumps, him being very smart, taking out Jey Uso first so he can finally fight Roman, but then, Jey coming back, having him to go through tables, chairs, ladders, constantly keep coming back. It wasn't just to make Roman look good. It was all to make Kevin look like a tank, to show an indomitable will that he was never going to stop. And I do like that throughout Roman's all of his big matches, he's always used a low blow to show that if I can't put you down, I'm going to hit you where it really fucking hurts. And with Jey having to come in, it's once again putting this idea in my mind that Jey is going to be the one to turn out against Roman. It's not going to be this Rock versus Roman, even though some people would love that. I personally think it's going to be Jey versus Roman, maybe not WrestleMania, but for the Universal title again. But this time they're letting it stretch out. They're actually walking this storyline of having Jey be a part of the fold, gaining Roman's trust. So finally, he's going to wait for the right moments. And if it wasn't for a certain match that's going to happen later on, it's obvious the story parallels from there. But at least this one, it's actually going to matter and it's going to work.
All right, Dose, wrap us up.
All right, this is the unpopular opinion coming. So everyone sit back, put your seatbelts on. I did not like this match. I don't know what any of you are talking about. This was just a strange reversal of characters. First of all, same as the Hurt Business conversation before, it's way too soon for Jey Uso to even be contemplating splitting from Roman. They need to build that faction up, and it needs to be strong for a long time before anyone needs to see either Uso fighting Roman in a feud again. Because, once it's one, then we're going to see the other one. And it's the same feud twice. They're twins, for God's sake. They have the same moveset. Nobody needs to see that. Secondly, the whole thing about Roman is that he's an unstoppable force. He even moves like the Terminator. He moves slowly. He never seems to have a sense of urgency. Well, who was the Terminator in this? Kevin Owens. They've been killing him for 3 weeks, and he's not even limping. He doesn't have any worse for wear. Nothing's stopping. He's like the Terminator in Terminator 1. He just keeps on coming until finally, after 1 million RPGs and 1,000 truck hits and shotgun blasts and everything else, finally a metal compressor finally extinguishes the light. That was ridiculous. He's not the Terminator. He's supposed to be the spark plug underdog, but he isn't the Terminator. Roman's the Terminator, and Roman shouldn't need Jey for everyone. They've turned him into an unstoppable force, into basically a weak ass who needs his cousin to do his work for him, and pretty soon it's going to be 2 cousins. So I don't like that at all, and I don't mind the low blow to guillotine once. I do mind it twice, only because we've seen this before, that once they do it once they do it twice, it starts to become the go-to. We saw it with Nakamura. He did it 4 times. It's fine for a heel to cheat from time to time. He shouldn't have had to do it here after they've been beating the hell out of Kevin Owens with chairs and everything else for basically 2 or 3 weeks on TV. It's just too much for me, and it was too I don't know. It just, again, Kevin Owens shouldn't be the Terminator. I'm not even going to get into him on the top spot or anything like that. That's irrelevant. Whether you think he should be John Cena or not, even John Cena couldn't have gone through all of that and fought that hard on Roman. And I agree with everyone else, though, that after that, for 5 days later to have a cage match is insane. I don't care that it was taped in advance. And it's Christmas night. Ain't nobody going to be watching wrestling? Come on, people. Save the match for 2 weeks or the season premiere of Raw after the New Year. So not Raw, I'm sorry, SmackDown. Something that's important. I don't care, about Goldberg. I'm not even getting into whoever is next. I'm talking about this match. I thought this match was all wrong. Everything about it felt wrong. I understand why people liked it. It went too long. It was at least 10 minutes too long. But I said, a lot of people went through things and things went bang and break and broken. And obviously they worked their asses off. All respect. But when people used to get Pillmanized, they were out for months. Now they get Pillmanized and you're delivering a super kick, 3 minutes later. I mean, I don't want to sound too much like Jim Ross now, but this was. I just thought this was poorly orchestrated, and Roman should have taken it. Enough softening enough had been done on Kevin Owens, and he could have lost. Valiantly. Anyway, so this match for me was a miss. Maybe if it was like 10 or 15 minutes shorter, I could have lived with it, but it just dragged on. And Roman, no matter what's happening, you can't put this guy away, but he never speeds up. He still has that plodding, methodical disposition. And then he's like saying, "I'm going to embarrass this fool." What are you talking about? You've thrown everything out for weeks now. He's still not dead. Are you not aware? Are you not there, man? So I don't know. He was like being the stupid cocky heel on top. So those are my problems with it. I get why people liked it. Lots of things went boom and bang. Respect to the workers, but from a story standpoint, I thought it was all off.
That's fine. All right, guys. I have a question for everybody. Segueing into the next question. How do you guys like your Fiend cooked? Because apparently Randy Orton likes his well done.
Yeah.
If that wasn't a fake body, I don't know if I ever seen a fake body. But they really edited that so good. You didn't see the people bring that damn body in and put it there. That they did a great job with that. I'll give them credit.
Well, this was actually filmed before TLC went live.
Yeah. Nobody saw anything.
But yes, I kind of like this image that Bray Wyatt actually let them set himself on fire, and he took the RKO. So as you can tell, we're moving into our main event, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt in the Firefly Inferno match. I like the fact that this match only went like 10 minutes. It didn't have to go long. I liked it, as you guys know in our chat, I like the visuals of the ring itself not being on fire, having to have more room to work. I like that. I like the fact that Bray didn't just burn his arm and that was it. He actually took fire, and apparently the Fiend will return. Obviously, he's evolving. I hope they bring him back and he becomes the next Undertaker, where he just destroys everything. Bitch, it's my turn. Fucker, I was quiet during your turn. It's my turn, damn it. I think he's going to come back. He will run through shop, and I'm curious to see where the story goes. They're already planning on evolving the Fiend character, which hopefully means 2021 will be a reboot, and we don't have the same bullshit that happened in Saudi Arabia or what have you. Keep his ass away from the title. Let him be one of these monsters that runs through the card but doesn't get near the title. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I like me a stupid, fun, just goofy ass match. It visually was great. I had fun with it. That's my 2 cents. Villain, I know you've got 1,000 cents for it.
Oh shit! You went to me first? Oh damn! All right, you're gonna cry. Okay.
I know.
The one thing I got to give WWE credit for this one, because they actually used common sense for this one. Before the match, everybody's wondering, oh yeah, Fiend's gonna lose because Randy Orton only wears fucking trunks. What he's gonna burn. But I like that they used common sense. Randy Orton came out with the "I'm gonna go fuck somebody's wife" gear. Like, if I stopped at a gas station to get gas and I see Randy Orton come out with that gear, I'll be like, man, who the fuck you just finished fucking, man? Like, God damn it, somebody call their wives and see if they home. He coming out like he creeping. He got the nice fit on. And I like the camera work. That's one thing I got to give him too. The camera work in this match was really good. Really good, especially when it came to like the final moves, the RKO, the camera was right there. The visual, with him on flames. And, I thought, Randy Orton could do what he got to do. This match was the one that they should have had the low blows. This is the one where Randy Orton should have been kicking him, in the privates, low blowing him, doing something to stop the Fiend. But everybody knew the Fiend was going to lose. So, it's like a jobber. Like, oh, yeah, this guy's losing. We already knew that 2 weeks ago. And then, he lost to Goldberg, got his ass whipped by Goldberg. What else has he done this year? Oh, he ran.
Talk about that? Do we really need to talk about
Yeah. Because then after that, what happened after that? Oh, he loses a 3-way match for the title too. With Braun and Roman, and then after that, he got ran off of SmackDown because he just is not a top guy on SmackDown since Roman's there. So he had to run to Raw, and he's feuding again with Randy Orton. But Randy Orton's been doing good, and then he loses this match, and I don't know what you're thinking of Undertaker character. Like, this guy's an idiot. Like, he comes out, he's gonna be on the Firefly Funhouse. Like, I mean, if I was 8 years old, that would probably be cool. But I'm a grown man, so I think that's stupid. Like, I'm not gonna sit down on my day off and go watch Pee Wee's Playhouse. Like, I'm good. And then this shit is like, sometimes it's cool.
Villains that play Pee Wee in the theater. Come on now.
Sometimes this is good, for the Firefly Funhouse. But it's like unless they do a 180 with the Fiend, but you got to have accomplishments, win titles and stuff. And if you don't want him to win no more titles, then what's the point of being a wrestler? Like, if I'm a wrestler, I want to win titles, and like, I really don't know where they go with this dude, man. It's like every time you think it's gonna hit, it misses. Like, this was a miss for me. I mean, Randy Orton looked good. I mean, even after he, put 3rd-degree burns on this dude, he flexed out the ring. Like, that was my highlight screenshot of the night. Randy Orton just in his pose with mad fire around him and some dude burning behind him. Like, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't bring this dude back for like a month, man. If they bring him back before that, then they're just really killing their own product, man. Then they wonder why their ratings are so damn low.
Apparently, Vernon in the chat, homie, he says you and him are going to feud.
Shit.
Now I pay for that.
I'll pay
Prison
for
rules
that.
here.
How do I take my money?
All right, Dallas, go ahead, bro.
Oh, me? Wow. I am also a Fiend fan. I know not everyone likes the supernatural characters. I do not like how he's been booked generally. I will say this. When I went through my MVPs for this year, Randy Orton would probably be around 5 or 6 there. He's put in the best year of work that he's probably put in a decade. That said, what a good time to take 3 or 4 months off like he likes to do. I have no idea why he won this match. I didn't know he was going to win this match. This match was set up for the Fiend to win. Now, let's back up a little bit, or I'll back up a little bit. I thought this was going to be a cinematic match, so I was disappointed when I saw it was set up in the ring. I do admire the setup. I thought it was creative, and I agree with everything that Matt said about it earlier, and that it wasn't right on the ring and it wasn't draped. But another thing I didn't understand, I didn't quite understand the rules. I thought if someone got set on fire, they lost. Well, the Fiend got set on fire about halfway through the match, so shouldn't he have lost? Did it require the front of him to be set on fire, not the back of him? So that made no sense to me. Then I was thinking there had to be a pinfall, but clearly that wasn't it either. So it made no sense. So now this has to continue because the good guy has to win. I don't know why the Fiend loses it, because it does make people like the villain who don't like the Fiend, it validates those beliefs, and rightfully so, that they don't treat him seriously. He wins a title, he loses it a week later. He wins a title, he loses it the next match. This is a match set up for him. They give him the swamp match. Nobody knows what happened at the end of that match. Who won? Nobody has any idea. And then this, this was tailor-made for him. I understand Alexa had time off pre-planned, but so what? They should have recorded something. She should have been the one to maybe she came on the screen or something. I don't know, but whatever it was, all of this was wrong for me. My expectations were set differently, but this is not a feud that needs to continue, and now it does need to continue. I don't know why they need to do a 180 on the Fiend, who they've done 3 or 4 180s on. I mean, you do enough 180s, you're just going in circles, and that's sort of what I feel. It's about the 4th or 5th 180. How do you repackage the Fiend? I mean, how creative you've got Firefly Funhouse, crazy Mr. Rogers Fiend. You have Bray Wyatt cult character. Occasionally he reminds us of Huskus the Pig. He's got a room full of puppets, and he's got him, the Fiend, and now Alexa as his little buddy. What do you do to repackage that? Do you make the other puppets come to life? I'm all for it. Go full on Dungeon of Doom. I've said this a million times. I'm all for it. Steppo, he can be Rambling Rabbit. Bring in Dabba-Kato, he can be Mercy. I don't care. Give me a cinematic match where he beats someone and Mercy is like eating the entrails out of someone like William Wallace at the end of Braveheart. I am all for it. Someone that you're going to release, bring in Matt Sydal and kick him the hell back out again. I don't care, whatever it is. Bring in the Motor City Machine Guns and have Mercy eat them all at the end of the match. Have Rambling splatter them and Alexa splatter them with those giant Harley Quinn mallets. I didn't understand this match. I didn't like it. And and because I had started not liking it around the Cedricization of the third match, I know a lot of people like this pay-per-view, so I'm glad about that because people shit on WWE and sometimes rightfully so. Other times just because it's the cool thing. Their pay-per-views have actually been mostly okay. They've been pretty good. Raw has been largely okay to abysmal. SmackDown's had moments, but D+ a lot of times. But I don't know what to say. I'm not trying to be contrarian. I just didn't think this card this show was particularly good. I can understand why people like the optics of it and sort of some of the effects that were unusual. It was different than we're used to seeing. So, okay, I get that. But story-wise, I didn't like what they did with some of the major characters that they've had, that they've put some investment into. So that's my rant. It's over.
All right. Dan, have at it, buddy.
Well, okay. I want to tell you something. Obviously, guys, if you haven't guessed by now, the writing in WWE is freaking abysmal. I'm going to use a word. I think
no fucking way.
This is a prime example of the writing being abysmal. And I'm gonna go off of what Dawson. I'll give a lot of credit to Randy Orton because he comes off this feud with freaking Drew McIntyre, and there's we're gonna have you feud with Bray Wyatt again, and this whole feud, this. And I do like the Fiend / Mr. Rogers character. I actually like it. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I actually kind of like the quirkiness of the, and you give a creativity to Bray Wyatt with the fun style, then the beast of a character, which that stuff I actually enjoy it. And you're gonna give credit for Randy Orton to go into this feud. You're like, I already did this. We already did this, and they're showing all this old footage from years ago or however many years ago, which quote unquote he ended Bray Wyatt. Now all of a sudden, now the Fiend is there. I mean, they didn't. The writing was dumb. The writing on this is so stupid. Where do you go with Randy Orton now if he beats the Fiend? You're going to keep coming up with this story again, having more like Alexa Bliss pops up, and then they're going to stretch this out because Randy Orton doesn't need to be in this feud with Bray Wyatt and the Fiend, in my opinion. This is where the writing, they got to get some creative people that have a vision. There is no vision in WWE with the writing. Why is it the vision is in NXT, quote unquote, the AAA of WWE? Here, the major leagues doesn't have any vision. The only great writing going on right now, to me, the only great storyline is the Roman Reigns stuff. And the only thing I could think of is they had to have a segue between Randy Orton going back and getting a feud with Edge again, and then getting to have like a 3-way dance with Roman Reigns. I mean, with Drew McIntyre, and that's going to culminate in something at WrestleMania. That's the only thing I could think of because there's nothing going on. This is like they had nothing going. They had to do something with Bray Wyatt. So obviously these two work well together, and for him to sell it the way he did, I give Randy Orton a lot of credit. He sold this as well as he could possibly sell it, considering it's like ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. And I like Bray Wyatt, and I like the whole character of the Fiend and the whole Mr. Rogers segment. But I actually did like the match, but Doss made some really good points. I agree with him. The pay-per-views have been better than the actual episodes of these Raw and SmackDown shows, but they're not that much better. They're a little bit better. It's like, oh, we're on pay-per-view, so let's elevate our game when it comes to the wrestlers, But That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think Doss made some really good points there.
All right, Ryan, close us out.
Not much for really. I say this a lot, but there's not much to be said. And to be honest, there really isn't much to be said. I personally thought this was going to be a cinematic match, so they can really use creativity to really play up some good, to really play up the Fiend character and the Firefly Funhouse sketches that we had of Bray in his Funhouse revisiting the past with his old feud with Randy Orton. That's what I naturally thought the creativity was going to be. Now, the whole spot of the Inferno match itself, it's a little better than just having fire surrounding the ring. So I'll give them that. It allows them to experiment more outside of the ring, having those little long posts on fire, or having that little fire, or having like one little small row in the background behind the barricade on fire. It got to experiment a little bit, but at the same time, this technically really wasn't a match. Honestly, this was just simply how many times can we tempt or put people on edge on who's going to get burned? If this played like an actual match, and maybe in splices, we had them tease the burn, someone getting burned, maybe it could have worked. But to me, it just didn't. It was pretty much just theatrical with no presentation and no substance. It was mostly all style, no execution. That's why I thought this would be cinematic, because it would be more advantage for the Fiend character. I thought finally WWE was going to get the Fiend back on track after botching him with Roman's return, and then after botching him with Seth Rollins. I don't know what it is when it comes with their top guys, but apparently WWE likes to put the Fiend under the bus. Oh, and let's not forget Goldberg. But other than that, the Fiend is a very good character that can work. I don't see him as the next Undertaker, but he can be something different, something to play on, playful, but at the same time terrifying.
Let me express what I mean by that. I meant it could be this mythological character that comes in and just. I didn't mean Undertaker per se. I meant the way that they portray him.
Oh, no, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. It's just mainly with the concept. Every time someone says this is the next Stone Cold, the next Brock, the next this person, everyone immediately wants to do those comparisons. And I never saw that, and I understood what you were saying. This is just for those who are watching us in the replays or live right now. If they think we're immediately trying to say that the Fiend is the next level of the Undertaker, the Fiend can adopt those same supernatural aspects of the Undertaker. But the difference is they're already going all in with the supernatural aspects with the Fiend. It took maybe 5-6 years with the Undertaker to have them go like 100% in. They were always going back and forth. Like, was he undead? Was he supernatural? It wasn't until the Ministry of Darkness they started to go 100% into that aspect. Right. With the Fiend, it was like that from day one with the Firefly Funhouse with his debut. And ultimately,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
No, I thought you were done. I was just going to close shop. Go ahead.
My final thought. Was it needed to write the Fiend off just to have him come back again as a new character? Really wasn't needed for Randy Orton. I mean, yeah, if they were going to do this, great. This could have been just a regular match between Randy and Bray at TLC, and then have them tease down the road that Randy's going to fight the Fiend. It could have been like what Bray did in this feud with Braun, 3 stages. The difference is, I mean, it has the same threads. Braun has been with Bray in 2 different stages of his career, and the same with Randy Orton. Sure, it's a recycling. Sure, it's repetitive, but because the fact that there's no crowds right now, I would have written that. I would have accepted that.
Right, that's fair. I like it because honestly, I think next up they go full Firefly Funhouse match, which y'all know me. That was in my top 5 favorite matches of the whole year. I mean, if you notice my shirt, it's a Firefly Funhouse match shirt, but that's here nor there. I enjoyed it. It's pay-per-view, so what we're going to do since we have hit the end is we're going to go around, tell the people where they can find you on the interwebs, and out of A through F, what you would give the pay-per-view. Mr. Dan, thank you for joining us. We will bring you big. Please tell people where they can find you on the interwebs and what you thought of this pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm a film critic. I write for my own blog. I write film reviews for my own blog from the 4th row at wordpress.com. Also, I write for a website called disappointmentmedia.com. Don't at me. I didn't come up with the name of it. So I do all kinds of anniversary reviews. I do current reviews of movies right now. I do TV shows, like I did all the episodes of Small Axe, The Mandalorian. So you can find me at disappointmentmedia.com. Also, I do a couple of YouTube shows, which Matt was on one of them. Right now, they're on hiatus. One of them is a summer series called Bleacher Features, where myself and a guest, we discuss a sports movie every episode. And Matt and I did Days of Thunder, which was really enjoyable. And the other one's called the Top 5 Weekly, where myself and a guest discuss a topic based on what movies are out in the theaters. I actually enjoyed the pay-per-view overall as a whole. I would give it a solid B. There was some problems. I just wish, I don't know, something about Vince and them, and maybe get Paul Heyman back into the writing again or something. Just the writing is abysmal. I just wish they would come up with some more creative stories. That's why I brought up the Charlotte and Randy thing. I thought that was a good idea. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I give it a solid B.
All righty. Painmaker. You know the drill. Oh, let me actually click on the right image.
That's okay. People can mainly find me here, Suplex City Chats. Once we get back in the swing of things, be here talking AEW, NXT, and a little bit of Smackdown. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm still continuing my Raw protest, my Raw, my Raw strike. But other than that, you guys can find me here on Suplex City Chats. And a C. It's just a solid C.
All righty. And then we will go to Mr. Villain. Hey, look, guys, it's Villain's Room.
Yep. You can find me, of course, on Facebook at Jack of All Trivia. That's how you get into the league. YouTube, Jack of All Trivia. And, of course, here on Thursday nights most of the times. And when we do these pay-per-view specials at TMG, Suplex City Chats, I give this pay-per-view a solid A. They had a limited number of matches, which I appreciate. It wasn't 4 hours long. We didn't have extra unnecessary matches. A lot of the outcomes I was happy with. Fiend losing, Drew winning, the New Day losing the titles, Sasha Banks retaining, good match. Yeah, so all the outcomes, I was satisfied. Charlotte Flair returning was great, but, it was kind of, but I still give it an A, for what they did. Yeah, it was solid from beginning to end. A.
And Mr. Evil Dose Malekith, what do you say?
All righty. I'm giving the show a C, maybe a C plus if I feel generous, since other people seem to enjoy it, but somewhere in that range. I was a C yesterday. Today I'm up to a C plus because people seem happy, but either way, not so great. Y'all heard what I said. Hopefully you're convinced that you're all wrong and I'm right. As far as where you can find me, on Twitter, Icarus Fell MD, all one word. Icarus, like the guy who tried to fly with wax in his wings, etc. I have 2 podcasts. One is professional wrestling based. It's called Hammerlock Hangover. We are wherever podcasts can be found, including Stitcher, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker, you name it. Podbean. I also have a non-wrestling podcast called Garden of Doom, which is a true blue variety show of all things abnormal. We've covered Bigfoot, and this most recent episode, we had a practicing shaman on. So, and did a whole interview with his near-death experience and all this other stuff. So sometimes we're heavy, sometimes we're in the middle. I'm here. I'm also part of the Unpopular Review Network, which is a YouTube, Facebook, podcast streaming network, which does wrestling and then entertainment. I'm obviously only on the wrestling. Well, not obviously, but I'm only on the wrestling side. Usually I'm on the Wednesday night AEW NXT review. So if you want to catch me there, just look for Unpopular Review and then you can subscribe, etc. And usually we get started around 10:15. I usually cover AEW. Someone else usually covers NXT. And then there's a bridge guy who covers both. This week, obviously, we're just doing NXT. All right. That's it for me.
All right. And little fella, what did you think? Yeah, a B? Yeah, I can go with that. I give it a high B, B plus. Little guy here is, the voice on my shoulder. Little housekeeping this week. I don't think we're going to be back Thursday for Suplex City. We might do it Sunday, maybe. I'll talk to the guys and we'll figure out what day we want to do. Apparently he wants to, the little guy on my shoulder wants to die now. Little housekeeping here at TMG Entertainment. We're going to be kind of doing a little bit of a facelift on the channel. Looks like this is going to become a podcast channel, which we're going to be doing stuff almost daily. Over on the sister channel will be the debates and trivia from now on, most likely. Like they said, Suplex City Chats is every Thursday normally. When we have pay-per-views, it'll be Sundays as well, or Mondays, depending on how we feel. As well as this Saturday, over on After Dark, we were almost nominated for a Schmodown Afterward, which is whatever. It is what it is. We are going to be celebrating New Year's. We're all going to be sitting around getting drunk, probably playing games, so definitely check that out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow on Twitch. Everybody from here at TMG Entertainment, Suplex City, too sweet.